appointments, to messing slides up, to... What are you doing, man?
It's part of the recording. You're good. Go for it.
Yeah. So people ask me all the time, are you like an agency recruiter, like these people from Aerotech? Or are you like a corporate recruiter, like these people call me and say, hey, do you want to come work for my company? And I say, yes, I'm both. I am somebody who may try to get you to work for my company or may try to get you to work for one of my clients, but it's all exclusively focused on information security. So I'm a geek. I tend to be something of an apologist for recruiters in the sense that, forgive them, they know not what they do. I hear a lot of complaints about recruiters, and they are legit, and they make a lot of sense, and they are sincere and worthy. But I also love security, and I'm passionate about security because I'm a former geek. Do I? Am I loud enough for you?
What? Not for the recording.
Are they going to catch it on the video though?
Alright, whatever. I'm not gonna
Yeah, put it on for the video.
For the video, you probably should.
Cool. I'm a former geek. I used to be the world's worst sysadmin. I was a bad sysadmin because I did not care about the users because I thought their problems were stupid. Some of you may find this somewhat sympathetic. But I am passionate about doing tech better, and I am passionate about doing security better. And that's why I like to think an okay recruiter, because I want there to be better people in these seats. And I want the people in these seats to be happier. And despite the fact that we think, or there's a popular misconception, that there's no unemployment in information security, that it's the safest, sexiest job market out there right now. I wouldn't have a job if all of you were happy. Not all of you are happy. So, let's look at that. This is me. This is who I am. I already covered this. I do stuff for Haylock in InfoSec consultancy, third parties. I'm a recovering agency recruiter. Look, I'm highly technical.
You do that.
Quick, is there an AV guy in the room? I'm room monitor.
Antivirus guy.
Ooh.
Really?
Sorry.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
What are we doing?
Don't do duplicate.
Okay.
I used to love technology.
Oh, 60 hertz.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah, much better.
Can I start over? Thanks.
Wait, how are you?
No, so I did this. I'm a recovering agency recruiter. I deal with people. Really effectively. So the reason thank you. Oh, that feels good. Now, the reason I mentioned that is that a lot of the hate that y'all have for recruiters, which I find very understandable, is because of stupid ass practices. Really stupid practices. And 90% of that is out of agencies. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but what you need to know is that this is a practice that has been outsourced. As far as information security, if you didn't already know, you have one of the most desirable skill sets on earth right now. I'm going to get deeper into that too, but there's a reason this stuff has been outsourced. There's a reason it's been outsourced to people who appear to you to be idiots, and there's a reason they behave in what appear to be idiotic ways. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into what you can do about it, and I'm going to get into how you can be happier at work and or get jobs that make you happier. So let's look at the stats. So there's no unemployment in InfoSec, right? We all know that. The statistics bear this out, sort of. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, government agency, and I would never doubt anything the government says 0.9% InfoSec unemployment in 2012 as opposed to 8-ish% nationally. Security workforce in 2012, 52,000. That seems insanely low to me. For perspective, there are 57,000 CISSPs. So no. And this includes the posers. This includes the people who are like, I configured a firewall once. I'm an information security worker. And that's fine, because in a sense, you kind of are. But it also speaks to how InfoSec employment is hard to define. If you're a sysadmin who is really in charge of securing large-scale server environments, are you an information security professional? If you're an auditor, are you an InfoSec professional? So hard to define. This is a symptom of newness. Also, for perspective, those web devs we all love to hate, 4.7% unemployment in 2012. I mention this because you remember the bubble days, like late 90s, early 2000s, when it seems like they couldn't hire enough Java developers, and it was all about the web, it was all about programming. There was an Onion article recently, local dad says, those tech guys sure got it made. It's just like that. Well, now it's like that for security. It's not so much about making things, now it's about securing things. And that's probably because they hired so many Java developers. Therefore, we're looking at 22% more InfoSec jobs by 2020. So great, this is growth industry. It's growing, there's gonna be a lot more jobs for all y'all, and yet, not all of you are happy. So, time was, year 2000, security job market was like, meh, and now it's like a fucking Tyrannosaurus in front of Hiroshima. It's awesome. But, I'm sorry, I love looking at this. So you're all okay. You're all okay employed. I talk to people all the time, for instance, who are in IT, who are in IT ops, who are network engineers, who are devs, who are sysadmins, who maybe are already in security, but they're like, oh my God, my life sucks. If you're so desirable, why not be happy? Let's look at this. Highly desirable skill sets lead to highly volatile job markets. This is not necessarily a good thing. Everybody wanting you isn't necessarily a good thing. Here's why. You get money in bidding wars. For those of you who will leave a job for $1 more per hour, it's going to be pretty attractive. I'm not saying I'm immune to this, but yeah, people are paying. From the same highly dubious Bureau of Labor Statistics, average InfoSec salary is somewhere around 100K. I've seen way more. I've seen criminally less, but that's still pretty nice. In an economy where the average anyone's salary is like 40, 50K, it's pretty nice. General IT churn, any technical fields, as technology changes, there's going to be turnover. We've all been through this. Does anyone remember when Solaris skills were desirable? You? Burnout. Somebody who spoke before me did a really good job talking about this. Information security trades, I like to think of them, are stressful. You are paranoid all day. You're getting screamed at all day. Something is always on fire. You are worried all day. A lot of you are on call all the time. This is not normal. It's really not. And you laugh. And what I find amazing is that we have come to accept it as normal. But most people do not accept this as normal. And we shouldn't either. Devs don't accept this as normal. most IT ops people don't accept this as normal. Or they ceased to a while ago when they realized how valuable they were. Nor should you. And then, inevitably, working for idiots. We've all been there, and one of the things I hear most often, I don't get buying. Management does not, they say I'm critical. They say I gotta prevent fires from starting. They say I gotta put out the fires, and yet they treat me like a mule. They treat me like I'm someone who can function as a machine. They don't understand that we're gonna need money, we're gonna need time, we're gonna need resources in order to create a security program when maybe there's none. I hear it all the time, and I'm seeing nodding. So this is the number one reason I see people move, that you're working for this guy.
Yeah.
And you get sick of it. So if you can go ahead and create that SIM architecture, that's great. No. And that's asinine, because you get paid well, people like you, people want you. Why are they treating you like you're just another cog in the machine? So, what do we do if you're unhappy? Which I know a lot of us are. First thing you gotta do, I see there's a gap, to put it kindly, in InfoSec resumes with people who are unbelievably brilliant and shock me with how smart they are and how they present themselves on paper. 3 big problems. Y'all like to talk a lot about all the technology that's been in the same general office suite as you, i.e. nouns. Like, yeah, I worked with SonicWall, yeah, I worked with ArcSight. But you don't talk about that much what you did with it. So I don't really know if you're a technician or an architect. You like to do weird things with your resume? Like make them into a race car, or a pretty princess, or a junk drawer, which I'll get into in a minute. And possibly because, as a community, we're a little modest, we're a little self-effacing. You don't brag enough, and I'm going to talk about that too. So, let's look at some examples of fail.
Oh!
Look at all those tools. God damn.
Nothing is left off.
That is a lot of tools. These are all from real resumes I'm using with permission, by the way, that I have said to my candidates, hey, your resume blows. Can I use it in my talk? And they're like, yeah.
Does
So-
W get but no curl?
Say again?
W get but no curl?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't even know. I don't even know. So this is great. This shows me, again, every tool that has ever been in the same office as you, but it doesn't tell me what you've done with it. I don't know if, what the hell have you done with Sensic Hailstorm Pro? What have you done with Impact Web Module? I'm kind of getting a whiff of what you're able to do, but that's not that interesting to me. If I'm looking for a pen tester, if I'm looking for a defender, I want to know about how somebody uses these tools. So there's this tendency to like throw tons and tons of tools in this big chunk at the bottom of a resume or at the bottom of a work experience. Try not to do that. First of all, I'm not that interested in tools. I'm more interested in capabilities. Second of all, I mean, what is PortSwigger? Somebody talk to me about what they do with PortSwigger. Huh?
Not as the tools. The author of birth.
Oh, cool, great. What do you do with it?
Scan.
Why do I want to pay you to work with it?
You should.
Right. So, this is fail. I gotta shrug, you should, for that. So cool. Your resume is also not a race car. Once again, this is from an actual real resume, used with permission.
He could have actually took the CNA right under.
Thank you. Because you could have took the CCNA and stuck it right up in the RSA and it would be perfect. I'm a little OCD too, sir. I get that.
Failed the layout. I mean,
First of all, certs aren't that great. Second of all, if the certs are the best thing about you, I get this all the time. Hey, if I get a CEH, does that make me a good hacker? If I get a CISSP, does that make me good at security? That's like saying, if I douse myself in Axe body spray, will that attract women to me? No! Absolutely not. Now, don't get me wrong, certs are not bad. Certs are not bad. I don't mind a CEH. I don't mind a CISP. Hell, I don't even mind a Symantec certified specialist even though I'm getting along with it. I'm fine with that. I actually dig a CCNA. It means you know something about routing and switching. Cool. But if that's what you lead with, it's like you're leading with Axe body spray. Would you, or as a woman, not to be heteronormative, it's like you're leading with a hideous boob job. It's not good. You don't want to do that. You don't want that to be the best thing about you. You want your skills, what you can do, to be the best thing about you. And that's the first thing I want to see, not this race car bullshit. Please. Again, fine if you have certs. Love you if you have certs. But don't lead with them. They should not be the best thing about you. So this is fail. I thought Symantec certified specialist looked a little lonely over there, so I thought I'd fail cert. Resume is not a pretty princess.
Oh my god.
I don't know why, but in security specifically, and I used to do general IT recruiting, it sucked, I hated it. I am way better at focusing on InfoSec. Specifically in InfoSec, you're into like weird Cirque du Soleil formatting. And you use weird fonts like Algerian and a bunch of horizontal lines and charts. I've seen charts and it's not necessary. This is...
It's a true type font attack.
If you actually said that to me, I might advance it.
Andrew's like charts.
Yeah, no. It is like a 1980s website.
But no
Thank
blink
you.
tag.
Yeah, this is the Geocities resume. No, I mean, it's okay. I get this. I get that we are quantitative thinkers. I get that we want to display information in not necessarily traditional ways. Listing out, I did this here at this time in this place is boring. Yeah, it is. Resumes are boring. They were never supposed to be sexy. They were never supposed to be fun, but they're necessary. This may be prettier, but unless you're going for a UI dev job, man, I'm not that interested in your Microsoft Word formatting chops. It just detracts from what I want to know, which is how you're going to function on information security engagement. That's it. That's all I want to know. So, a little bit fail, formatted, there. Nice. Bold, italic, underlined. This is iffy. So this is my friend Bobby Tables.
Little Bobby.
Little Bobby Tables, thank you. Respect, Randall Monroe. So this is, I get this. I'm very sympathetic to this. A lot of you have weird, diverse backgrounds. One of the best hackers I know has a BS in biology. But he's very goddamn good. He's an amazing coder, an amazing pen tester, writes fuzzers that would turn you white, and he also has experience with things like ISO 27001 auditing and TIPA compliance. Weird. can't be easily summed up in this one short little one-page document. First of all, this is the bank. I do not give a shit how long your resume is. Don't care. 10,000 pages, as long as it's all relevant information. Don't care. People say to me, oh, it was longer than 2 pages. I don't care. Tell me everything you can do. That's awesome. Love that. But looking at this, can anyone tell me what this person does?
They make lists.
They do make lists. So maybe project management is the best thing for them. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. You know, thank you.
Trying to get past HR.
Beautiful.
Yes.
We'll talk about that too. Thank you. But a lot of you have been involved in all of these things, or a bunch of these things, and that's fine. But it's time to think about what you want. If you want to be an auditor, I pray for you. But if you want to be an auditor, talk about what you've done that's relevant to auditing. If you want to be a pen tester, talk about pen tests you've done, even if it's not on professional engagements, even if you just took Joe McRae or Georgia Weidman's course. Tell me about everything you've done in your home lab. Tell me about everything you've done that's relevant, because we want you. I have hired people who have never worked one day in information security professionally. Their only experience was in labs, their home labs, their school labs, CTFs, and they're phenomenal. So don't think that you have to, look, if you want to be an IR person, don't think you have to pad it with this other stuff. If you want to be a reverser, don't think you have to say, yeah, I can do pen testing too, if that would be handy. No. Target your resume to what you want to do. Maybe Phil. I can't tell. This is a good resume. This is my dear friend Jane Q. Infosec, who works for Monolithic Financial Megacorp in Chicago. So this is a good example of what I was just talking about. Jane actually has a really diverse background. Jane started as a circuit designer. Weird. The SEE was way more hardware oriented, started in defense and security architecture as a low-level firewall jockey way back in the 90s, way back in the PIX days. Went into large-scale security architecture, did a little bit of pen testing on the network level, and now has a kind of blended role. Trusted advisor, can do some policy work, can implement all these tools, the kind that were in this big, like, glut of tool speak in the first slide I showed you. But Jane's talking about what she did with them. Jane's talking about how it impacted the company. This is what I'd like to see more of. I don't have any illusions about what Jane does. I don't think Jane's a web app pen tester, even though I know Jane is concerned with web app security. I know Jane is concerned with network security, but I also know Jane's not a firewall jockey anymore. I know Jane is concerned with policy, is concerned with architecture, is concerned with overall design. I know I'm not going to get Jane for $50K a year. I think I'm going to pay Jane $200K a year. This is the difference between a good resume and a shitty resume. So it goes. Even though I don't like ArcSide. Who does? Great question. This is a great resume too. A little bit more granular detail. This is a web app pen tester resume. I use a little bit of Python jargon there, but that's okay. Yeah, this is a web app pen tester who breaks down. This is what I do. This is what I'm good at. Here are vulns I find. I love to see vulns in resumes. I love to see exploits in resumes. Don't be scared to talk about those. Yes?
So I have a question regarding the last resume that you had up. Actually,
Yeah, you want me to go back?
Yeah, actually kind of this one too. So So, where do you put in your personal experience, like I make and break things in my lab all the time, when it kind of looks like it's oriented between jobs?
Oh, child, I'm gonna get to that.
Page 2.
Okay.
You don't like that. Did I see another hand up?
No.
Oh, good. So, web app pen testing, this is very granular, it gets very technical. Don't assume recruiters or hiring managers are too stupid to know what you're talking about here. A lot of recruiters are stupid. I'm not going to deny that. But people are stupid. But the person who makes the hiring decision is the one you want to think about, not the damn recruiter. The person who's going to look at this and say, okay, you use Burp Suite, but you've discovered these kinds of phones, and that's kind of, what you see here is sort of impressive. If the person could explain CSOF to me, that would be interesting. But this guy's done, or girl, has done compliance work. This guy is telling me about actionable stuff he or she has done that I can use on engagements. Sick. Do like it. Okay. So we've got a great resume now. You've done what I say, you've obeyed me, your children. Awesome. So you've got your great resume. What do we do now? How to get a cool InfoSec job? There's a couple strategies. The first two that you see here, I think, are dumb. Don't do them. Old news. First two are post and pray. You throw your resume up on the job boards. I don't see a lot of people in InfoSec doing this. This is sense making. This is good. Continue to refrain from doing this. A couple reasons. Number one, resumes are the glitter of the internet. Your PII is all over the internet the minute you post a resume online. A lot of you don't realize that if you throw your resume up on Monster or Dice, it is there forever. So if you throw it up there when you're 15 and just kind of looking for a part-time job and you're living in your mom's basement, I have your mom's phone number, and that is not a your mom joke, so don't do it. It's just dumb. And people like me, who are really determined and who are focused on InfoSec, have other ways of finding you. We will. I will. Tee. You can spray and pray. You can apply to what's posted. This is problematic too. Job descriptions are vague. Thank you. Gonna get deeper into that too. Job descriptions often don't make any sense, don't tell you anything about what you're gonna be doing, and it's much more sensible to get close to somebody who is acting in the role that you're going to be close to. So if you're applying for a pen tester job, talk to a pen tester at the company to get a sense of, okay, what is this actually? I'm going to talk about that more in a second. Much better network in. Like I said, you can learn about jobs before they're officially open. HR generally has to rubber stamp job requirements and say, oh yeah, we have budget for this, and yeah, we've written a job requirement and it's officially open. To hell with that. Companies know what they need months before they admit they need it. Every single one of you who's working has a deficit somewhere. I don't care if it's incident response or sweeping floors. Every company can stand to improve, and that means that every company can stand to hire someone. Now, the gap between that, we're getting HR approval and budget approval and all the other bullshit is enormous. So, it pays to network in, go to meetups, go to cons, hit up people on LinkedIn. Don't be shy. Most people are delighted to help people who have similar interests to themselves. If somebody said to me, hey, what's the best way to get a job at Haylock? I'd be like, I love you. Let's hang out. Your mileage may vary, but most people are delighted to help you if you want to work at their company. So just hit them up. You all have OSINT skills. even recruiters can be helpful, but again, this is not a recruiter apologia. I like to think I'm okay. As I say, your mileage may vary. Dumbass job descriptions. Can anybody tell me what this person does?
Security.
They secure all the things.
They race cars in pretty princess dresses.
That actually sounds really fun. Love to do that.
They are responsible for security, and they are given no resources with which to do it.
Right.
And manage the things. That actually looks like they work for the IT security engineer that does all these things.
What the hell does this mean? This is from a real job description, not one of mine, I'm proud to say. Job descriptions in general are terrible. They're awful. They don't tell you anything about what you'll really be doing all day. So you can't go on the basis of them. Your goal when you're moving towards a security position, any IT position really, but specifically in security because there's such a gap between what HR understands about what you do and what you're actually doing, get close to the people who are doing it. Ideally, get close to the person who will be your boss. Ask, who is the hiring manager here? Or who would I be reporting to? Just get a name. Again, you don't have to be shy. It's like a tech support call. Get a live person on the phone as soon as possible. Avoid HR. Now is my time to say I'm not HR. You ask .hack what happens if you call me HR. There will be words. So, what is this job description? What does the job actually entail? Everyone likes speaker. Sometimes the qualifications for the job are actually impossible. 5+ years of experience in Kali Linux.
Good luck.
Thanks. A bunch of certifications that have nothing to do with each other.
PhD in material math.
Yeah. But you gotta be local from Nome, Alaska and lift 700 pounds. That is also from a real job description. I'm pretty sure they meant 70. And they
Okay, coffee. It doesn't have to be a coffee.
So here's the point of this, that these are all in an ideal world where unicorns crap rainbows. Here's what the person would be able to do. If Kali Linux had been out for 5 years, we would love somebody with 5 years of experience in Kali Linux. If it were possible to have all this stuff and a PhD in actuarial math, that would be great. And if we didn't have to pay reload costs to Nome, Alaska, that would be wonderful. But you know what? They want you more than you want them. Bear that in mind. All of this is negotiable.
What about the IT sec barista part?
The coffee part is not negotiable. I'm sorry, you are not qualified for jobs in final position. Yes, sir.
I've seen a number of listings like this where they're basically just trying to make a specific person who's already a contractor internally hired in, and that's how you basically know that they're not going to hire you, pretty much.
Yes and no. So, yes, that happens a lot, and you're not paranoid for thinking that. But if they have an internal person who is a contractor, either on W-2, 1099, they might be on a finite contract or a contract to hire. This has nothing to do with that. If they've made up their mind to hire someone who's already an internal contractor, they're going to do it regardless. I'm going to get to the fact that job descriptions and job postings can be extremely CYA. But short story long, essentially legally they have to. They have to post the job. Not HR. So does that address your concern?
It begins.
Very good. What? These talks are really just more to entertain me than to inform you. I just want to make So getting to that, job descriptions can be, depending on your state and jurisdiction, they can be legally binding documents. They're usually written by non-practitioners of anything technical. They're usually written by HR and or legal types. There's therefore a high degree of vagueness and CYA to them. If you are a person who was, for instance, fired, and they say, it's because you weren't doing your job, they can point to their job description and say, oh look, this was your job to have 5+ years in Kali Linux, even though that's not possible. So that's how they cover their asses. Get the real story as far as what you'll actually be doing by asking somebody who is either in that role or in a role that is adjacent to it. Learn about jobs before they're open. This is awesome. I already talked about this. Friends and associates, go to cons, go to meetups. Don't be shy. I have social anxiety disorder. I have problems going up and talking to strangers. And yet, if I were looking for a job, I would take a deep breath and find the person working at the company I wanted to work for and say, help me. 2 words. How do I get in? And people will shock you with how friendly they are and how willing they are to help. Trust me. Just try it once. I'm telling you. A lot of you have gotten jobs this way. I know this. If you haven't, give it a shot. Social media often neglected. LinkedIn is okay. LinkedIn is kind of a suit and tie social media network. I like Twitter, man. I've made a ton of hires using Twitter alone. The cool thing about Twitter is it's fairly anonymous. You can DM people, you can follow people, you can say, here's a job I'm passively interested in, would like to know more about. I've also made hires based on people I met in IRC. I don't know. It's not that traditional anymore. I would say job boards, birds. Stay on social media. Best thing you can do for your career, fuck around on social media all day. I'm telling you. Good recruiters can help. Look, I know recruiters get bashed. There are really good reasons for this. I'm going to get into this in a second. A lot of recruiting practices are really stupid. No lie. If you find one you can trust, if you find one who seems to be vaguely clueful, cool. Work with them. But be aware that they're in the minority, very much so. So we're talking about the bridging the gap between the hunter and the hunted. Let's talk about attack paths. People ask me all the time, hey, I'm a sysadmin, I want to break into security, or I'm a dev, or I'm a network engineer, or I'm just doing help desk. How do I bust into security? There are general rules that can help with this, but for instance, you're a sysadmin. Sysadmins, I have found, make awesome pen testers when they grow up, because they understand systems, they understand large-scale networks, and they know how things break. And this is good. It can take some training though as far as methodologies. Scripting and coding is something that I find sysadmins need to learn. Common large-scale systems config and large-scale, especially Linux hosting environments, Windows somewhat, so not so much. Also, if you're interested in defense or IR, if you have a systems administration background, you're going to have an edge. Because once again, you understand how things break, you understand how things patch, which is good. If you're a dev, secure coding is going to be a thing. Secure coding is already a thing. I am already hiring developers who understand not just the OWASP top 10 or the web app security consortium publications. Developers who understand not just how to write secure code, but how to architect secure software environments, how that bleeds down into DevOps, how software can govern a secure IT environment. That's sick. If you can do that, You name your price. Period. And we're not seeing a lot of this. We're not seeing, in terms of brags that are written by recruiters or HR, we're not seeing people saying, yeah, we'd love a developer who can at all write secure code. Not a lot. They're more focused on languages. HTML5, maybe on Rails. Who cares if it's riddled with vulnerabilities? It's a feature. Devs can, if they wish, learn web app pen testing very easily. I have seen software developers become insanely good web app pen testers. Obviously, observe 0 days and bones in the wild. Consider how those apps are coded. Consider the foolish mentalities that led to fuck it, ship it coding, and therefore very insecure coding. If you want to go into project management, cool. We are always looking for SDLC project managers who have a sense of security. This is just letting you know what's getting hot. Network engineers, cool. 10 years ago, I could not hire enough of you people. I love you. I love hardware. I hate software. But that's okay. Network engineers are awesome because they are focused on making things work. They're focused on making things work even when they can't work. So the fastest way into security through network engineering is through network pen testing, but demand for network pen testing is somewhat plateauing. We're seeing a lot more app level, code level security demand. You need to realize that defense is about more than devices, firewalls, load balancers, you name it. It's about architecture too. It's about smart policy. I have found, and this is going to be painful for some of you, I've found that network engineers are really, really good at policy implementation and compliance. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know you don't want to do it, but it is lucrative. It is necessary. Be good at it. And if you don't want to do policy and compliance, come on, just rock on. Just be a network architect, a security architect. None of these jobs are going away. But people ask me all the time, hey, what's hot? What's getting hot? It's a couple things. Web app pen testing, secure coding, defense, because nobody wants to be on the blue team. Oh, it's not hard. Would you like to stand up? Oh, okay. No, and okay. So blue team is considered less sexy than red team. Because, oh, I'm not breaking shit. It doesn't have penetration in the title.
That's more truthful,
Yeah, come on. Pen testing is not for everybody. It really isn't. I think we can all agree on that. Some people are just better defenders. And yet, these are really well-paid jobs. They're actually kind of fun and interesting. But people don't want to do them because it's hard. Pen testing isn't hard, right?
better you're a blue team, better you will be a red team.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're out of time.
You're more likely to be a scapegoat on a blue team.
So good, yeah, I mean, those are the big ones.
Pink, red, blue.
Valid. All right, so FAQ, how do I incorporate gray hat, community involvement, et cetera, kind of addressing what somebody, and thank you. How do I incorporate gray hat, community involvement, say I hacked into Paris Hilton's Sidekick, or say I have been going to meetups or cons, whatever. How do I throw that in my resume? Gray hat. You may encounter mistrust, especially if you're applying for internal security jobs. If you're applying at Chase Bank, people are going to be dicks about it more than they are at a security consultancy, right? So, how do you get around that? Establish trust. Yes, I know how to tie a tie. Yes, I understand that it is patently wrong to do illegal things. And yet, in my lab environment at home, I have determined that there are certain mobile device exploits which exist in the wild, and leave out the part that they have to do with parasocial psychic. So yeah, talk about what you learned. Community involvement, terribly underrated. People ask me, oh, should I talk about how I went to BSides? Should I talk about how I went to DEF CON? Should I talk about CDs I published? Should I talk about X, Y, and Z? I say, yeah, all the things. Later. Because that to me says, you'll do this for fun. You're happy to do this for money. You're happy to do this 8+ hours a day. But then you'll go and do it for 4 more hours. I love that. I talk to people all the time who are like, I hear there's money in security. There's also decades of misery, but fine. If you're getting to security for the money, I don't know how to finish that sentence. So, good. Mention all the things in terms of community involvement. Talk about talks you've given, cons you attend, volunteers you find, anything. Chuck it at the bottom of your resume. Brag. It's great. Just make sure it's relevant. Other projects, patents, publications. I talked to you about the electrical engineer, circuit designer I work with. Cool. That guy interviewed for a job with a guy who was an electronics geek, and it turned out awesome. But try to keep it relevant. Cool. Why is my resume getting so many irrelevant bites or no bites at all? Dumb recruiting software and or process. I'm going to speed through this. It's not that interesting. It's mostly just dumb. Fixed, we're years away. So I hear a lot, these stupid recruiters, they look at my resume and they see that I can exploit Java vulnerabilities, and they think that means I know how to code Java. Most of those recruiters are not actually looking at your resume. We use secret robots in order to send you horrific levels of spam. I don't do this anymore. I used to work for shitty companies that did this, and I hated them. And I yelled at them not to do this. I said, this alienates the very people off of whose backs we make money, and various expletives, but it's just the way it's going to be. You can troll them back. I know a lot of you enjoy trolling us back. That's fine, but the delete button is right there. Your local market might suck. You might have to move, or you might have to start hustling in terms of looking for either remote employment or go out and sell yourself. Say to your local business, even if it's a shoe shop on Main Street, hey, I noticed this massive gaping SQLi vuln on your website. Would you like some help with your security posture? Can't hurt. I've seen it work for a lot of people. Maybe you didn't do what I told you to do. Do I care about certifications? Once again, Axe body spray. No, you can't make me. They're not bad, but it says they do in the job description. No, ask. Be very skeptical about the job description. Ask what in that is negotiable, because I guarantee you, most of it is negotiable, if not all of it. Some organizations actually do care about certifications, like the government. I think it was a couple of years ago, somebody told me at the DISA conference, somebody went and sold them a big old pile of snake oil saying, everybody who touches any secured information in the US government should have a CISSP. Everybody, to the level of like an Edward Snowden. And they're like, okay. And now the US government only hires people with CISSPs, and it sucks. And they pay people with CISSPs $10 an hour. So, is how it goes. I'm told to stop now. I'm saying get the cert, but it's nothing in a vacuum. Q&A? Do I have time?
We're not going to kick you off. I think the camera needs to go, but like it's now time to change rooms. But there's a microphone.
Well. All right. Q&A.